to another live, like usual.
Oh,
Okay. And good morning, Syl. Hope you'll have grain too.
one moment, one moment, one moment, one moment. It is good to be here, Beena. It is good to be here. It is very good to be here. Okay, I'll have grain in a moment. Yes, 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 yes.
Yes.
I have to, but my computer restarted, and when it restarts, I've got to log into everything, and it's like, come on, and just makes it slow. I have a lot of
Yes.
stuff open, so it's like I got to sign in again to like a dozen things. It's quite amazing.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Hello and good
I'm
morning.
going to have to reboot later. 1 second before you
Okay.
continue. I just wanted to show you. Yeah, I wanted to
Mm-hmm.
show you.
Oh,
Can you see?
yes.
See, new graphics
Yes.
card. I forgot to show you earlier. New graphics
Ah,
card. So I have to put that in later, which obviously means another reboot. All
yes.
right, today, and there we go. Okay. All right.
Okay.
All grains should be joining us in a moment. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Good morning, Syl, and good morning, everyone.
Yes.
Hopefully, good morning,
Good morning.
Norma, because you are always punctual and be there.
Yes.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for that. Because it's just feeling grateful that people who see the value, who appreciate the value, and who just share their company. It's not
Oh,
about
oh,
what
oh.
they are doing or anything, but just sharing their company is a big deal. And that's why I always say thank you for that. Yes, it might
Oh,
sometimes it's
oh.
like, oh, I'm very grateful that someone is listening. No, not because of that, because at least from my side, I personally feel that I am just having best time in my life because I'm having this opportunity where I can ask whatever I want to. I can get value every single day. Also, I can practice what I'm learning, and I can implement those intents right there. This is a big thing in my life. This is a very big thing in my life. uh, I when I was not aware that what is actually uh, the self conversation is, the value of self conversation, and what is the passion and aspiration in a more positive way. Even when then I used to, and this is something I still do. This is one thing in my life. It's constant. When I wake up in the morning, the first thing is what I'm going to learn today. And
Yes.
this is so excites me. This is so exciting for me
Yes.
because it just unhooks me from all the previous days, burdens, stress,
Oh,
disappointments, positive, even positives. Complete neutral, completely neutral. It makes me neutral to be receptive.
oh.
When I say, okay, what I'm going to learn today, and it's been now at least 8 years since I'm practicing this.
Wow.
It's been 8 years now. What I'm going to
Wow.
learn today. And this is how people say that, okay, oh, don't look at your social media for as first thing in the morning. This is what I do as the first thing in the morning after saying, what did I learn
Yes.
today? It's
Yeah.
all about the context. It's all about your own perception. It's
Yeah.
all about your clarity of intent, because this is what I
Exactly.
learned deliberately from Way of Impeccability, that you
Mm.
can learn and you can get extract value out of anything and everything.
Yes.
What
Yes.
I was doing,
Yeah.
it was in practice. I called Facebook my hideout, my university, my school, my institution, my workplace, and my fun
Brilliant.
time also. Everything is there. I learned so much, and I'm learning so much. It's compounding now.
Yes.
It's a
Yes.
snowball
Ooh.
effect. It was in the
One
beginning.
moment. Are you just learning, or is there something else you're doing in addition to the learning?
Hmm. Yes, I'm
That
learning,
word
and I'm
learning, as you use it, it's capital L learning, and it
yes.
includes something which might not be so in general, which generally isn't so. Well, for
Ah,
most,
application.
learning is simply the acquisition of information, of data.
Oh,
For
oh no.
you,
Oh, no. It's an application.
exactly. So
It's
when you say
application.
I'm learning every day, you need to clarify that. Say I'm applying every day, and through the application comes the learning. And through the learning, yes, I acquire some information, but it's understanding, awareness, discernment that I acquire because of the application. It's a loop, right? You learn something,
Mm,
it new comes, you apply it. From that comes more, and the doing leads to more, and then you get some more information, you apply, and then it continues the process. Correct?
I, again, absolutely.
Yeah,
Again, I need to be more precise.
yeah,
But in my mind also, I was taking it for granted that okay, this is what
yeah.
actually learning is. This
Right,
is what
right, right, right,
learning
right,
is.
right, right, right. You had the right idea. The only
Yes.
reason I mention it is because in general, when you say learning, it means, to most people, learning means memorization.
Oh no, 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 never, never,
Right.
never,
So
ever.
for us, we rather can use the word application, because application is, yes, we are learning, but application is more comprehensive, it's more accurate, and it conveys more what we're doing. Through our application, we learn, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
With one more thing I would just want to add with
Learnication.
this. Yes. When you mentioned about memorizing those things, I never feel that I need to because
Never.
why?
Yeah.
Because just for an example, I'm using this analogy.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
we go out or when we make something like your mama's food, like okay, what your mama used to make for you,
Yeah.
your mother used to make for you, and you still have every bit of detail preserved in your senses: texture, temperature, touch, aroma, color,
Hmm.
everything. Do you ever think that okay, I need to memorize this? No,
No.
because in those moments you were truly receptive. That's why
Right.
you don't need to. All your
Uh,
senses absorb those things, and that is something. It's a magic of receptivity. When you are truly,
well,
innately, you are receptive to something, all your senses become but acts like a sponge, and they absorb
yes.
everything. They
Yes.
absorb the data, relevant data, like the texture,
It's about
like
appropriate emphasis, in other words. Yes.
exactly. And also, like,
Yeah.
okay, what when Syl was sharing something, when Norma was sharing something, when Cher was sharing
Norma
something,
said hello. Hello, Norma. Hello,
hello,
Norma.
hello,
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 Norma.
hello, Norma, or anyone, when anyone, or even when I read memes, when I just saw read and look for memes, and when my friends talk, if I am receptive, I don't need to memorize anything. They just become like because all my
Exactly.
senses become so sponge like, and they absorb the
Exactly.
relevant data.
Exactly.
And then when
Exactly.
everything comes together, then memorizing is just irrelevant. It's nothing is in
Yeah.
comparison to
Yeah.
really be receptive and
Yeah.
receiving those
Yeah.
things completely and fully. This is what
Exactly.
happens with me. This is what happens with me. This is that's
Exactly.
why I was taking for granted that for me learning is exactly like that. When I
Yeah.
learn something, I don't leave it in or just push it in my back burner of my mind or my subconscious. I just keep it in forefront of my mind all the time so I can apply it. And once I start applying it, then it becomes the real change in my life, and then of course I can move on. This is how I'm learning.
Wonderful.
This is
That's
how.
very potent. That is like ridiculously potent. Capital
Yes.
L learning is a very different experience. That's why I say learnication, or
Exactly. And
learn applications or
yes.
something.
And
Yeah.
one more thing, that I had this idea that when you are learning, or it means that you are in the process and you will become something and then you will do something. That was the order in my mind previous, like a few years ago. But actually, the capital L learning is right here, who you are and who you are becoming in this moment. And I'm
Yeah.
applying it. So that's why I don't need to wait for. what I will become, who I will become after this learning. Because mostly this is how our whole education system is. You have to you have to learn and of course get education for 10 years, then you will become a matriculate or whatever, or A level or whatever you want your system is. And then you will learn for more 2 more years, then you will become this. And after 4 years, you will become a graduate, and then you will do, because our education system is designed in a way that we have to wait to become something,
Yeah.
which is absolutely contradictory to real learning, capital L learning. You don't
Yeah.
need to wait for that. Right now, whatever I have learned in this moment, I'm
Yeah.
not using in this like, okay, I have learned something. Just whatever right now I'm learning. Whatever I've learned, I'm applying it right now.
Yeah.
Since now, this is my life, this is who I am. So I don't need to wait for years to pass out and then say, oh yes, this
Yeah.
is my graduation and I am a graduate now, or I'm a master's now. No, this is a wrong understanding of learning. We just uh, get from our education system and from other, of course, sources also, but mainly
Yeah.
from education system, which is designed. All our parents and teachers just keep saying that, oh, you have to have good grades, so then you will become like this. Then you will get
Yeah.
good admission in a good college. Then what? Then you have to learn for 2 more years. Then you will become like this, and then you have to go to university, and then this is the whole thing of just waiting. Right now, what you will do? Nope, no application, no application. We never
Has
actually
to be.
enjoy what we have learned so far.
Yeah. Yeah.
We never
Yeah.
enjoy.
Unless we apply. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. In a traditional educational system, conventional educational system,
Correct.
this is,
Correct.
yeah, keep waiting,
Yeah.
keep waiting, keep waiting.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And then you will acquire something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway,
Isn't
I
that
don't know
interesting?
how we get to in this conversation, but
Doesn't matter. It's brilliant. It's awesome. It's important. It's necessary. Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
it is
Yeah.
important for me, and
Very.
that's fine. It's
Very.
just I just pull you into this conversation, whatever is important for me, and
I love
I
it. I love it.
I
I
am a
love
bit
it.
mean into this, that I just grab this opportunity that I'm going to talk first, so I can just put all those things to you that, okay, so I need to know more about this. And this is
Yeah.
how
Yeah. Yeah.
I just set the whole conversation mood for the day, so I can get more value on this topic. It's a bit of sneaky way to get what
Yeah.
you really want.
Ah, it's brilliant. But that's why we're here. It's all about sharing. And this is what happens on Nobelia. This
Yes,
is how the days go in Nobelia. What's relevant,
yes,
what's pertinent. It's shared, it's discussed, it's acted on, it's applied,
yes,
it's understood, it's connected to, it's integrated, it's taken into the whole self via awareness, discernment, understanding, and application. Yes.
yes.
Very, very, very powerful. Very, very, very powerful.
Another ritual for me, what I do is to have tea time with Beena.
Oh,
This is what I do. I
oh,
just spend some time with myself and ask questions. And if I feel
wonderful.
like, okay, there is nothing to share, it means that I was not really scrupulous. I was not really thorough in my learning.
Yeah,
Because when a person is learning, you will never feel bored with them. No, never. Because they always have something exciting to share. They always feel eager to share. They always have something going on in their lives. Always newness, always a new perspective.
yeah,
That's why when I feel bored with myself, which actually I'm glad that it never happened so far.
yeah,
Uh, this is my testing mechanism for myself. If I can enjoy my own company,
yeah.
then it means that I'm learning good.
Absolutely, 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 absolutely. To have that contentment of self, but
Yes,
also not to be stagnant,
of
right?
course.
The contentment is contentment with the understanding that we are process.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you, but the stagnant, you just reminded me that, okay, have you done the editing for my of my moon text?
I was halfway there, and I shall finish soon. I shall finish in a moment.
Okay,
Yeah, as soon as
okay.
you start reading, I shall finish. Yeah,
Yes, okay. Then I will share my moon text,
yeah,
which is
yeah,
also it's a leverage. It's a
yeah.
leverage to stay connected with refinement, with the exercise of refining your expression. And this is
Mm,
what is happening for me. I'm just pushing
mm,
myself to write
mm.
it at least twice a month, but I'm getting something out of it, and it's a very beautiful process. I just learned from you, Syl. You just push me really hard into this. Like, okay, you need to write. You need to write. And I was really, it was like just 2 lines was a big deal, and then it's a paragraph. Come on, I just conquered the world right there.
Yeah.
And it's still I'm not very fluent in my expression. I get overwhelmed
Oh,
by so many paragraphs right now. I don't want to make people bored with this all these things, and I don't want to,
yeah,
because also I feel that if I will go in detail, I might lose the sensibility, and then I will be like, okay, people will say, oh my God, I will make myself fool. This is also a fear into this. Oh,
yeah.
that okay, I will write more, then it will not be as precise, and then it will be difficult, which might be difficult for me still, because I'm learning, I'm doing, but
Yeah.
I'm also applying right now, which is a satisfactory factor into this. That is something. Yes, still, I just realized that I have a fear of not going into more detail, not writing long, and I
Yeah.
will
No,
overcome
you're doing
this.
a fabulous job. You're doing a fabulous job.
But I will overcome this. I will overcome. Yes,
Yeah.
I have this subtle fear. Come
Good,
on.
good. That fear can be leveraged to add to us, keeps us alert, keeps us sharp, keeps us checking, keeps us modest.
Mm.
When we lose fear, we can become ridiculously, absurdly stupid.
Oh.
We can get ourselves into a mess because we don't recognize what is coming, and then we're not prepared. And when it comes, we're overwhelmed and we can't deal with it. And then you end up in an actual mess. Yes, when we
Hmm.
lose fear. And there's so many reasons we can lose fear. We can lose fear through arrogance, overconfidence, immersion into fantasy, and self-delusion, right? Immersion into ego can say, well, whatever. Inappropriate trust, laziness, indulgence, all of these characteristics can make us lose connection to fear. We do need some fear because, of course, like we said yesterday, right? And Sebastian was saying about courage and trust, both entail risk. And risk means a little bit of fear is appropriate.
Hmm.
Yes. But we
Yes.
can use that fear to say, let my fear keep me sharp. Let my fear keep me alert. Let my fear keep me thorough and scrupulous and disciplined and conscientious, diligent. Yes.
Yes.
And let my fear keep me alive. And so that say, yes, fear, you're going to stimulate me to be more and not sit back and just, whatever. Yes.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
Fear is our great ally in the greater enemy, which is excess complacency or just complacency. Stagnation, complacency, very closely related. Yes.
Yes.
See? So fear becomes our ally in dealing with complacency and thereby avoiding stagnation. And what happens when you've got too much stagnation? You get rot,
Yes.
corruption. Yes?
Yes.
We don't want that. So our fear becomes our ally. It's again philosophy of opposite. Yes, we're so afraid of fear, we never think that fear can be an ally. can be a fantastic ally. Like in this case, your fear motivates you to be more, to think about things, to explore, to push the boundaries, to practice, to assimilate, to test, correct?
Yes.
To learn and grow. What a marvelous usage of that. And it's a tiny fear. It's not a debilitating fear. It's a stimulus, not a negative in your life, correct? It doesn't make your life miserable, but it's there and you utilize it. Yes. Very potent,
Yes.
very excellent mechanism. Yeah, yeah.
Wow. Yes.
And that's something?
Yes.
Isn't that
It is.
something?
It is a completely new perspective on fear.
Yeah.
I was aware of it, but just going into detail and of course going over like next second time or uh, as many
Yeah.
time as we can
Wow.
is always
Exactly.
good.
And just to articulate in a new and more cogent and more useful and applicable way. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. And which slide we were on?
We were at the end,
Okay.
wherever that is. I know because I signed out, so my thing will now start new again. But right there where we went to Sebastian's end.
The
and
end.
and and
Yeah,
and
that's
be-
it.
well her first end, not it's not truly the end, and then right then she stands up again, right? She says the
Yes.
end. Biella said, taking a deep bow. Yes, so we're on 19 now, to start on 19.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, because normally, when Biella would say the end, it would be the end, and they'd go into the takeaways. But because of the delegates, she feels a bit compelled to say a bit more. Yeah,
Hmm.
because it's
Soft
her
and
mandate to show and explain and demonstrate to them, right?
okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
go ahead.
Okay. Soft and earnest conversations broke out everywhere. "Aw!" exclaimed Camillus, to no one in particular. He'd been moved more than he expected, adding, "That's wonderful," as Aki and Nora unexpectedly hugged him. Biella sat back down, and in a surprise to the audience, the lights went out and the image of Sebastian reappeared. This time, the image itself spoke. "If you were to hear her, especially when she laughs, you'll know it's all true." Sebastian himself laughed, his laughter filled with love and joy. He straightened his posture, noble. "And when you get to know her more," Sebastian seemed to be speaking to everyone individually, "it all fits so perfectly. Everything always works out for the most good in the end. It forces that actually. Her actions and behaviors, no matter what, force those around her to become better beings."
Let's read that again and comment on that.
Okay.
That last sentence.
Her actions and behaviors, no matter what, force those around her to become better beings.
No matter what her actions, no matter what, force those around her to become better beings. Isn't that quite a profound statement?
Yes, it is. Is this a magic of good intent
Yeah.
and the clarity of intent?
Yes. Yes. Because the angel Illumineer in mortal form is absolutely 100% a product, a consequence of intent. Not only the intent of being an angel, but also the intent to be perfect in imperfect circumstances, and the two have to work together. right?
Mm.
So there's this intent to learn and grow and practice, right? And to understand how it is that one can be. And of course, the reality of imperfect circumstances is way more overwhelming and complicated than the angel had any idea of, right? So there's
Mm.
that part of it. But there's the intent to also assist humans, mortals, not necessarily humans, mortals, to be good. Yeah. Right. So the two
Mm.
have to work together. So you get this massively complicated thing. Right. But in the angel Illumina's difficulties in dealing with people, if we read a little bit and between the lines there, right? It
Mm.
shows the image of her in various confrontational situations. She struggles a bit, right? And she has this problematicness. But in that, uh, at the same time, even though she's being difficult and seemingly not things aren't smooth and that, right? The
Yes.
underlying intent is one which benefits the individuals if only they could see it. Now Sebastian does see it, which is why this is the origin story, right? Because this obviously, well, it's an origin story, and she was the first angel to do it, but there are likely many other stories of other angels that have come to earth. Yeah? Well, they all followed eventually, but uh, it isn't necessarily the accompanying story. I mean, this myth could just have been about Illumina coming, and then, oh, she had a hard time, it was difficult, and whatever, and her adventures as a mortal. But it's a double story. It's the story of not only the exceptionalness of her coming and being a mortal in order to fulfill that intent, but also Sebastian coming and seeing this, at least in his insistence, because,
Mm.
and this is why the story is such a potent story, and it's an origin story, because Sebastian's insistence, he didn't want to say, well, you're just being kind of, crappy or lousy or horrible or, troublesome or, egotistical or whatever. He
Mm.
insisted, his intent was to insist on seeing the good no matter what. So he rearranged the entire universal order of things in order to find an explanation that would satisfy that intent. And this is what he came up with. But then he goes a little further. Yes, and the new nobility take this further. They say, look, Sebastian may have did this for his own personal reasons, but really underlying this, in addition to that, was the noble intent. Whether or not his story is true is totally irrelevant. The consequence is that he insists on treating others as if they have the absolute best and purest and most awesome of intents and motivations, regardless of the behavior. And therefore, he treats them with love and respect and care. Doesn't mean he's going to be condoning or indulging of the bad behavior. No. But nonetheless, his attitude towards the deep intent is one of profound love and respect and appreciation and positivity. And of course, he's insisting on extracting the more. Yes. And through this, there's a relationship that develops, right? Those that are in that situation, like the angel Illumina, come to realize that they have conflicting intents and peculiar beliefs and all of this, and they can learn and grow because they have some space to do it in. Yeah.
Mm. Yes.
Yeah. So it's an incredible process. So the new nobility, not only through this treating others as if they were angels, right? But in a they so deep in it, it may as well be that they believe it to be, but it does they know it's not necessarily so. Maybe not, but it doesn't matter. It absolutely does not matter. Right. So they really are leveraging things to the maximum. It's a very, very noble perspective. Yes, Beena?
Yes.
A choice.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Before moving forward, I want to ask you something about these lines. If you were to hear her, especially when she laughs, you'll know it's all true. What about this? It's very poetic, by the way. Like really, it's very poetic.
Yeah.
It's very beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
But
Thank you.
I know that it is more than just beautiful. So
Yes.
please explain a bit more. Why especially laughter or laugh?
Well, when you listen to laughter, capital L, listen, when you hear laughter, if you truly pay attention, you can hear much. Mostly when we hear laughter, what are you hearing? You're hearing hierarchy. You're hearing some bit of derision. You're hearing a bit of mockery. You're hearing the lessening, right, of somebody, because you're mocking them, you're deriding them, you're making them less, right? That's so often the case with laughter. But when you hear pure laughter, it's something else indeed. It reveals that deep pureness of intent and goodness that's there. Yeah. When you listen to laughter in this way, you hear the corruption in that laughter. You hear the bit of spite sometimes, or you hear the bit of jealousy maybe also, or you hear the laughter has a complaint in it. Yes, you can
Mhm.
hear a lot about someone when you listen to their laughter. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh yes. Wow.
Yeah, because that's why it was grabbing attention every single time when we were reading this. That when you hear, if you were to hear her, especially when she laughs, it's not okay. It's about like just maybe from her voice, from her tone, or or something else also, but especially when she laughs.
Yeah.
No, it's
Yeah.
not true. It's not fake, which means by implication, it means
There you
that it's
go.
real.
Exactly. I mean, you can really hear fake laughter a mile away,
Hmm. Yes, we do laugh
Yeah.
fake also. Yes, at least we do sometimes. Instead of saying something inappropriate, you just laugh.
Right, right, right. Exactly, exactly.
Yeah,
Right. But
it just
see,
it
when you hear laughter like we just heard, you hear a
was
joy
like
of the world, right?
it just made me laugh because I realized that, oh yes, we do laugh sometimes fake. It was like, oh.
Yeah, but don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Before we go on, fear of
Yes.
anything, Norma. I'm sorry, we missed Norma's comment. Sorry, Norma. I was
Oh,
I was
sorry.
multitasking. So glad you're here, Norma. Glad you're here. Glad you're here. Glad you're here. Glad you're here. And yes, I love you too, Norma. Yes, very much, Norma. Very much. You are really magical, Norma. A beautiful, pure person. You're an angel. You're an angel. That's it. You have to realize that. You're here to learn to be more in difficult circumstances. Yeah, very important. And then Norma goes on to say, fear of what? Anything, doesn't matter. Anything. We can use that fear to leverage ourselves to be more, right? This is the value of fear. We need to learn to use it like anything else needs
Fear
to
of
learn
being
to use it.
exposed sometimes, that people, oh,
Yeah,
people have a different perception of me. And like when I was sharing that maybe subconsciously or in my subconscious there is a fear that I will, if I will write more, I will lose the accurateness or accuracy, or I will lose the flow, and then it will all just collapse, and then people will, okay, I will
correct,
get
correct,
exposed that okay,
correct.
she might be not that much aware as we are assuming.
Yeah,
See,
yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
just saying that okay, I'm just giving you, I can of course only give my example. Who else? So this is the thing I was saying, that okay, so it was a fear also for me. And since
Yeah,
says that
yeah,
this fear is actually that subtle. It is even just like even less than a subtle one, because it's just a subconscious thing I'm assuming it might be. And
yeah,
Wenzel says that, okay, this fear is actually good and we can
yeah,
leverage.
yeah, yeah,
And in any situation, any type of
yeah,
fear,
yeah,
we
yeah,
can leverage it.
yeah,
As this
yeah,
is at least what I understand.
yeah, yeah. And then this depends on what we are fearing: a tiger in the garden, losing a friend, uh, being ill. Yes, those are all part of it. But typically, what people fear right? If you're fearing a tiger in your garden, if there's an actual tiger, now this is a very different thing, right? As opposed to fearing the possibility of a tiger in your garden. Unless you live in India somewhere or in that subcontinent area where there actually are tigers and you are living close to forest and stuff where there's a realistic expectation of this. Anywhere else in the world, no, unless the tiger escapes a zoo, right? There's very low chance of this. And yet people fear things that are statistically very improbable. And they don't fear things which are statistically probable. It's like people go to the ocean. I forget the current statistic, but for the longest time, the number of deaths from sharks was 6 per year. 6 people per year died from shark attacks. 6. The whole wide world, 6 people on average. And yet people go to the beach and they won't swim. Oh, I'm scared of sharks. Never mind that this is not an area where sharks are prevalent and shark bites are uncommon, etc., etc. And even in areas where sharks are common, it's still not an issue. And yet, statistically, right, the most likely cause of death that you can do in terms of your own behavior is driving in your car. And they happily get into the car. So my point is that most fear is inappropriate. It's fear of an idea. For instance, fear of exposure. It's an idea. So what? Say, I'm nothing, I know nothing, I'm an idiot, I'm an nincompoop. Okay, well, there you go. All right, so now whenever I do something and it exposes this, well, now you're just seeing the truth. I don't know anything. I need to learn. I'm an idiot. We all are. We're all nincompoops and idiots compared to the universe. So how does it matter that I'm a little more or less of a... No, we're all idiots. Doesn't matter. No? Doesn't matter.
Yes.
So again, it's this artificiality of ego and status and trying to protect and, oh, but I won't be loved if people see that I don't know anything. Where did they ever get that idea from? This is a hierarchy. This is a superiority paradigm nonsense idea.
Yes, so but this idea actually comes from people's behavior.
I know. I know.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's not appropriate, but it's not completely wrong or illogical, because people do actually make you feel like, oh, you are nothing, and then
Right.
you don't deserve this respect, you
Right.
don't deserve care,
Exactly.
you
But
don't
it's
deserve love.
all right. That's all what I'm
Yeah.
saying. It's all idea. Fear
Yes.
is usually an idea. And fear
Yes.
of idea. It's not really real. It's not really real. The tiger, when it's in your garden, yes, this is real, right? But again, fear is an emotional attitude towards something, and it can be debilitating, or you can use it like anything else. It's a tool, right? When the firefighters go into a burning building, right? They use that fear to leverage their attention, to be cautious, to be careful, to be thorough, to be diligent, not to take chances, etc. Fear is their ally. Whereas somebody else, oh, it's a burning building, panic, and the person in the building, and they
Yeah.
literally go around in little circles, right? And they don't know what to do, and then they end up getting burnt. Yeah, see,
Yes.
got to use fear. Don't let fear use you. Right? Leverage your fear. Make your fear your ally. And fear can look at roller coasters. People love roller coasters. They pay money to feel afraid. Horror
Oh
movies,
yeah.
same thing.
Yes.
Fear can be your ally. Fear can be your ally. Like everything else, don't assume. Don't assume
Yes.
fear is a negative. And Norma says, yes, that depends what you're fearing. Exactly. That's very important, right?
Yes.
To make sure that fear is valid, it's appropriate, it's necessary, it's
Yes.
useful, not
Yes.
nonsense fears. Most people fear nonsense. And then Norma says also they can be working for angels. Angels use humans to assist them in real life. Yes, yes, yeah. An angel will do anything in its task, right? And they will certainly use other humans to assist the one that they involved with, right? Their target one. And then she says,
Wow.
Beena laughs beautifully. Yes. Yes.
It's,
See,
it
it's what
just came out
Sebastian
like
was saying.
abruptly.
But you do. You love beauty. It's a joy to hear you laugh. Same with you, Norma. Same with you.
Yes,
Firemen
yes.
task
Okay.
for
I
protection
want
as
to
we can.
share
Exactly.
something which is
E-
not relevant, but it is relevant in a different way.
Exactly. Firemen. I want to just
Yes.
just make one key point here.
Yes,
Firemen
please.
can
Yes, please.
ask for protection as we can. What makes fire persons, they're not just men anymore, right?
Right.
Firefighters. I don't like to say firemen, I call them firefighters because there's women are just as many now as men, or maybe not just as
I
many, but
never
they
heard
certainly
this
are part of it.
fireman. I always read and hear firefighters.
Oh, good. Well,
Never
they
read.
used to be called firemen. It's just the old term,
Oh.
right? So, Norma, we need to get out of this misogynistic language. Sorry, it's important. It's important because there are a lot of women who are now firefighters. Thankfully, I love
Yes.
this. It's like, why not? For heaven's sake, there's absolutely no reason why they can't be, right? Always fascinated me with this idea that men can only do certain things and women can only do certain things. I was like, why can't I do stuff like that I'm not supposed to do because I'm not a woman? I'm like, it's ridiculous. Anyway, firefighters, right? When they go to a fire, do they ever, ever go to a fire as a single firefighter? No.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm assuming if somebody's off duty or whatever, but even then, a firefighter knows that going in alone is the absolute worst, most disastrous thing you can do. It's completely against their training. It's always a team endeavor. Right? This is very, very critical that they know their risk, but they have the backup and all of this, right? So very important to understand that firefighting is a collaborative team endeavor. Yeah. So,
Yes.
now we're not always fighting fires in life, but when we do find ourselves needing to fight a fire, make sure that you've got that team. Yeah. Be strategic. Be
Yes.
strategic. I mean, if nothing else, this is what firefighting is all about, being strategic, correct?
Exactly.
It's very critical. It's all about being strategic. Yeah. They're dealing with a real threat. Now, threat doesn't mean that you have to be consumed by fear. Recognize the threat and deal with it. It's as simple as that. And deal with it appropriately. Right? You don't always have to be feeling afraid. Right? People forget that. They assume because there's a risk, they must feel afraid. No, it's not so. You don't have to. Fear is a
I never
choice.
think I never think like this before because oh, I must feel afraid, but it just happened that okay, oh, when
Yeah.
you are overwhelmed by limited options
Yeah.
to get out of that situation, and the risk or the threat is overwhelmingly high in number, then you do get okay, puzzled or stressed or panic. It happens. Yes, to stay in panic is a different deal. Uh, of course, we need
Oh.
to get out of it as soon as possible. But I think that some behaviors are innate also. No?
Yeah, well, maybe, there's a DNA component to some of our fear. The body has fear of physical pain and of fear of death, but nonetheless, those can all be overcome.
Mm.
Many, many instances of people overcoming the fear of death and killing themselves, right? This happens all the time. Or engaging in really dangerous activities, which sometimes or not lead to their death. And also self-mutilation, right? Physical pain and torture. This is not an uncommon thing at all. People can override what are supposedly our deep instincts. So nothing is locked in. Nothing. It's all up for grabs. You can choose how you relate to anything. You think that our bodies won't allow us to starve ourselves to death. Not true. People have done this quite deliberately many times. Hunger strikes, protests, etc. The mind is the most powerful. They override our instincts. Yeah, can. Yeah, sometimes foolishly so too. But we need to be aware of this, right? That if you come to believe something, and believe it strongly enough, it can override your body's sensibility. Or you can make it as a conscious, deliberate choice too, either way. Right? But just be aware that the mind is incredibly powerful. It's the most powerful of all. Yeah. Wonderful, Norma. Wonderful. Love your comments, Norma. Love you too. Yeah. Makes sense? Does that make sense, Beena, in all of this? Right? It's about
Yes,
appropriateness, in other words.
yes,
And we need that awareness,
yes.
discernment, and understanding, and the ability to apply it. ADU without application is meaningless. Yeah. Now think of the firefighters again. Right? And the way typically we learn is like, well, you learn, okay, you don't do this, you don't do that, and it's all theory. Okay, I know what it is to be a firefighter. Yeah, the first time you run into a burning building, you're going to have a very different experience. Now all that theory just goes out the window because now you're in it for real. You're feeling that
Yes,
heat. Yeah, once you actually feel that heat and that pressure, that overwhelm, you can't see what's going on, blah blah blah. Oh my God, this is like a whole different deal, right? So that's the thing with training. Of
yes,
course, they have training where they set fires, in the firefighting the training facility, and you really literally go into a burning building, right? You train it, right? At first, it may be smaller, and then you build up to it, but you train that so that you have the physical experience of it. Yes, it's very important. It's very, very important to understand. Without application, all that means nothing. And particularly in situations like firefighting or any like in military things too, they have live fire training where they shoot live rounds at you. All right, they're not trying to actually hit you, but when a bullet is missing you fairly closely, whether the person's trying to hit you or not, they know, well, one little mistake here and I could be dead, right? It's a very different experience, right? So physical, actual application, the body needs to be involved in our learning. Without application, it means nothing, yes? Because you have to have the body along for the ride. Make sense?
yes, yes,
Oh,
yes.
very powerful, very powerful. Keep going, please, wonderful Beena.
Okay. Sebastian abruptly disappeared. The lights came back on. Biella rose to stand again, addressing the entire crowd, the delegates in particular, and said, "The point and purpose of the telling is the same as the postscript from Sebastian. Seeing someone as an angel in mortal form is a way to look at anyone. It's how the new nobility choose to look at any individual as a potential angel or mythological being, or even as someone from a world unknown to them. They do
Oh,
this knowingly, using mythology and story in this sophisticated way. The new nobility choose to see others as agents for good. They choose to
as
find,
agents for good. Keep going, keep going.
yes, they choose to find good in all the
Mm.
individuals they come into contact with. If they are seemingly inconsiderate, it's to teach us to not make snap judgments, to force us to reconsider. If they are demanding, it's to help us to be patient. If they
Mm.
are annoyed and bothered, it's aid our compassion, our tolerance. No
Yeah.
matter what they do, it's always to teach us something, not to teach in the usual manner, for they brook no failure. Their mission is total success. So they force us to learn these things. We learn or we are miserable. But even being miserable doesn't really matter. We will learn either way.
Yeah.
Biella paused to let that sink in and then added, "This is, of course, a most sophisticated choice of you by the new nobility. They know
Mm.
full well none of it is likely true, but that matters not in the least. They choose to believe in finding good because it's a noble thing to do. It's one of the reasons the early new nobles came to be known as the new nobility.
Yeah.
For the story is one that came to be handed down from the very first new nobles.
Yeah. Yeah.
In part 1 of chapter 10.
Wow, brilliant. I'll just go up a bit there, and is it in the previous slide? There was something I wanted to comment on. Uh, ah, uh, uh, yes. We learn or we are miserable. But even
Yes.
being miserable doesn't really matter. We will learn either way. The difference is how fast we learn.
Hmm. Hmm.
When we're being miserable, we learn slowly, and it just
Ah,
compounds. Yes. Because the more
yes.
miserable you are, basically you're refusing to learn. And so you learn the hard way. But in refusing to learn, you make the learning slow. You have to have repeated slaps up there, upside the head and all this stuff, right? It's the worst possible way to learn. That's why it's very slow. But when we are eager to learn, when we wake up and we say, what am I going to learn today? The universe says, yes, all righty then. Yes.
Yes.
And then if you follow through with application, right? Of course, your learning is what am I going to practice today? And through that, learn to apply what I know. And also in the application, I'm going to learn more. Yeah. So the key is really for me, I say, what am I going to apply today? And by implication, also learn, because application leads to learning. But learning does not necessarily lead to application. Correct?
Yes.
So to make this point about speed, when we on board with the learning application process, right? With doing, in other words, implementation, all
Yeah.
right? When we on board with this and we on one with it, we're in attunement with the entire universe, and then the universe supports us in everything we do. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. This is very powerful. This is very, very powerful. Wait 1 second. I want to have a curl in the middle of my fur. Since I saw it there, all errant, and there we go. How about that? What do you think, Norma? But of silliness. But of silliness. Yeah.
I was about to share something,
Yes.
and it was very interesting. For me, it was very interesting. And why I remember that, because you mentioned tigers,
Norma
Bengal
mentioned
tigers.
tigers.
Oh yes, okay, she mentioned that. So Norma, with you, I'm sharing. You know that Bengal tigers are very famous because of
Hmm.
the incident happens quite regularly in Bengal. That
Right.
tigers used to come out of Sundarban. Sundarban is their forest, very famous one, very dense forest, and they used to come out of it and then eat human. They hunt
Right.
actually,
Right.
and people were just disappeared, and then they found
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
clues that they have been eaten by tigers. And there are so many stories about that. And
Yeah.
and Bengal tigers becomes a symbol. It was a big deal.
Yeah.
And just few days ago on TV, I was watching uh, the Asia Cup of cricket. Norma, you must know cricket, of course.
Yeah.
So Asia Cup is on, and Bengali team, they call themselves Bengal Tigers. And it
Hmm.
was a shock for me, because that would be the last thing I would suggest to have as a name. They were
Yeah.
calling themselves proudly, we are Bengal Tigers.
Yeah.
Bengal Tigers were eating only Bengalis, sorry.
Yeah. I love this, Bean.
Like,
I love this.
seriously,
How
I
think
was
about what
amazed.
you're saying. It's discernment. Yes,
The
implication.
nation is
Yes.
calling themselves proudly, we are Bengal Tigers. Bengal
Yeah.
Tigers were just eating only Bengalis.
Yes. 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 Although to be fair to the tigers, they don't. they don't treat humans as typical prey. It's actually exceptional for the average tiger to eat a human. And I think once they get a taste of it, then they do more. But typically they
Uh,
avoid humans as prey. Yeah, the only animal that would actively hunt humans as prey is the polar bear, by the way.
oh, okay.
I mean, a tiger, a typical tiger, on first instinct it avoids humans and goes elsewhere. But they get exceptional. They get something happens and changes it, and then they switch over. But it's not their default. Let's put it that way. Same with lions; they don't default to hunting humans. Yeah.
Yes, but see, this is how human mind works.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's
Like,
power
see, if
hierarchy. We tough. We wonderful. Blah blah.
even we are just feeling powerful by
Yeah,
associating ourselves with our own hunter or killer.
yeah,
This is
yeah,
how this
yeah,
hierarchy is
yeah,
so entrenched in our mindset. And I was
yeah.
amazed by that. I was like, what? They call themselves Bengal tigers?
Yeah, and also the tiger's a solitary animal. It's not a team player, and cricket is a team game.
Oh
Yeah,
yes, and also now I remember that I one of my friend on Facebook, she was studying in a college named Sher Bangla. Sher means lion, and I was like, come on,
means
you guys.
lion.
Yeah, Sher means lion.
Oh,
Yes.
interesting, interesting.
So I was amazed by that. That you guys are you forgetting that very recent stories in the recent past that that lions and tigers were a real terror and horror for Bengalis, for
Interesting.
our for the nation, for the whole nation. And now you are just
Wow.
feeling proud to teaching your children that, oh, you have to be a
Yeah,
share, like
yeah,
seriously.
yeah, yeah. See, it's hierarchy, superiority mindset,
Yes.
which leads to this inappropriateness.
And
Now I have a
let me,
question for you.
oh, just to give a
Go, go.
disclaimer. I'm mentioning Bengalis in particular because this is the story. It's not
Yeah,
that, okay, I'm saying or pointing out someone. These type of
yeah.
stories must be in every part of the world.
Oh yeah,
I've
oh yeah.
seen
It's
that.
just you're
But
familiar with it,
it
right?
just came out.
Right.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
please.
yeah.
Say,
You're not singling them out.
oh, no,
But
no, no.
now I have a task for Beena. Beena, you've been assigned to renaming the Bengali Tigers team to something else. Well, by implication, you want to keep Bengali in there. So now what are they? The Bengali hummingbirds? No, hummingbirds also pretty solitary. That's no good. The
No,
Bengali
they are not.
ants. The Bengali that
No,
would be a
no,
that,
no, no. Actually, because Bengal is super rich with their water, their seasides. I think that
oh,
must be
oh.
something from some watery species if they want to have really a symbol for themselves. Then, like, okay, maybe trouts or something, salmon or whatever fish they have. That might be
Oh,
very
but
very
are they good team
relevant.
players? Are they good team players?
I guess the trout is the fish who travels against the river flow or the
They're
water flow. This
persistent.
is
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
So that
And
might be something.
they do migrate together, I guess, but they don't
Yes,
really
I
help each
guess.
other.
Yes.
Dolphins, they help each other in their when they're hunting, right? They will
Oh,
go
we
on
we have
sides.
this Karachi Dolphins. We have the team of Karachi,
Ah,
which is
ah.
associated with
So,
dolphins.
all right. So they have to find some other
Oh,
thing then.
another thing from Pakistan. In Indus River, we have a rare species, blind dolphin.
Wow.
Oh, and why Pakistan don't want it? Because these dolphins are blind, because of evolution, because they have to live in this muddy water and in this water.
Oh, so they use
Ah.
sonar.
Yes, so they are developing the other skills because they cannot see.
Wow. So I'm assuming they use echolocation or sonar, right?
Must be. I have no more
Sound.
knowledge of
They
this.
bounce it off like bats. Bats
I
also
mean,
use it.
yes, might be. But
Yeah.
I don't have more information on that. But we do have a blind dolphins
So the
here.
Bengali blind dolphins.
Not Bengali blind dolphins. Blind dolphins are in Pakistan.
I see. Okay. All right.
No. It's in my province, Sindh, Indus River.
Ah, right. So the sun blind dolphins then.
Yes. That's
I
why
got you.
Karachi team is Karachi Dolphins. They call
Right.
themselves.
But Beena wants to rename them Karachi blind dolphins, just to be clear. Yeah. Well, that would be good from a sporting point of view to develop your other senses to help you and not
By the way,
only rely on.
our blind cricket team is a world champion and they beat everyone. Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Who
We
knew
have.
there was such a thing? See, I
Oh,
never
we
knew
do
there was
have.
a blind cricket team. That's
Oh,
incredible.
it's
Do,
a big
do,
deal.
do
A
they
big
have
deal.
the ball? Does the ball make a sound?
Yes.
Ah, that's fantastic. That's fantastic.
Yes, we do.
Now the name, the Bengali or the Sindh or Pakistan blind dolphins. Now that becomes a good name for them, right?
Yes.
Wow. That's incredible. See how things lead. What do you think,
Yes.
Norma? What do you think? What are you thinking, Norma? Let's hear from Norma again.
Yes. Okay. And I'm going to eat now.
All right, brilliant. And also post your
Oh, thank you so
article.
much for that. Yes.
Yeah, well, do that before it gets done. Brilliant. Well, you know what? I think that's a good place to end on because we are at the end of the story. And what is today? Wednesday or Thursday?
It's Thursday.
Thursday. All right. Tomorrow, Open Friday. We can since we now come to the end of the chapter here, we can maybe go over it in total, or have Open Friday and maybe get back to finishing the Me of When and Now. But anyway, tomorrow is a bit more open then. So since Beena's going to eat and do a post, I think that's a good point to wrap it up. Unless Norma's
Okay,
got a
everyone.
question
Thank you
or a
so much,
comment.
Syl. Thank you, Norma. Thank you,
Brilliant.
Universe, for giving us this
Yes.
opportunity to be here.
Yes.
Okay.
Too magical. Too
Okay.
magical.
Bye for now.
All right.
Bye,
All right.
everyone.
Yes. Bye-bye, everybody. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.